There's been a lot of changes on Upwork in the last 2 years, so to help you make money, I decided to make this up-to-date guide on how to find freelance jobs on Upwork with techniques that work best right now. I know that getting started on Upwork can be confusing and frustrating. I know that when I started out, I struggled a lot to find my first jobs because I made a lot of common beginner mistakes that I'm also going to help you avoid in this video. Here's why I'm qualified to teach you this. I've been freelancing since 2018 and I've managed to work with multiple million-dollar businesses. I've even designed the website for one of the biggest sports organizations in Canada. And I've also, since January 2022, never charged less than $58.92 per hour for a project. Let me show you how to get started on Upwork the right way. Let's get started. First, let me show you how to create an Upwork profile. If you already have an Upwork profile, let me just share with you that I put the timestamps for this video below in the description. So if you already have a profile, you can just click down there to skip this part and go to the parts where you're at right now. So first, you want to get to your search bar and type upwork.com. You should get to this page and you'll notice there's a button at the top right of the screen where you can click to sign up. That's where you want to click to create your profile. After you click, you'll get to this page. It's going to ask you if you're a freelancer looking for work or if you're looking to hire a freelancer. So as a freelancer, all you have to do is click on the box to the right side and then click on the green button below. Take you to this page where you can enter your personal information. I'm going to skip this part. You're not going to see my information, but you're going to see it's very simple, like any online profile. At the end, just click the green button at the end once you're done. And it's going to ask you to verify your email address. So just open your email account on whichever email you use to create your profile. Make sure that you click on the link to verify your address in the email they're going to send you. Very simple, like any other online profile. So once you're done, it's going to take you to this page where you're going to start creating your account itself, the things that you put on your profile. So first of all, just click the link down below at the top, at the bottom left, to get to this page where it's going to ask you what's your level of experience with freelancing, and it's going to start asking you questions about what you offer as services and what kind of freelancer you are, what's your level of experience and all that sort of things. So first of all, for me, because I'm an expert web designer, I'm going to click I'm an expert. Then on the next page, it's going to ask you what's your goal. It doesn't really matter what you pick there. It's more for their own stats. You can pick truthfully. For me, Upwork is an interesting way to make money. So then it's going to take you to this page where it's going to ask you, how would you like to work? There's two ways to find work on Upwork right now. You can either try to find work by applying job offers, which is the one that I recommend. And there's also the creating sales pages that clients can browse through and try to decide whether or not they want to hire you based on that rather than other freelancers, but it's a lot harder. And so I recommend really focusing on, I'd like to find opportunities for myself, and I'm going to show you how to do that later on in this video. Then it's going to ask you to start giving them more personal details. So it's going to ask you to either import your resume or fill it in manually, which is what we're going to do right now. First of all, what's a job title for you? We're going to change this one later, but for now, like for me, just writing web designer is perfect. Then it's going to ask you if you have work experience. If you do have some, you can include it here. Then it's going to ask you to add your information. And most of these, you'll notice, besides the button at the bottom right, there's also a button that says skip now. And you can click that and just enter all that information later if you prefer. Then it's going to ask you about the languages that you speak. For me, I'm really good in English. And as a native French speaker, I'm also going to add French to that. Then you add not only the languages you know, but also your proficiency level. And for me, in both English and French, I'm going to add some native or bilingual proficiency, which is the highest one that there is on Upwork, and then you click at the bottom right, and then it's gonna ask you what are your skills. This is very important on Upwork. Your skill tags determine what kind of jobs you'll get recommended and how high your proposals that you send will appear. You know, when you apply to jobs, people with the most relevant skills appear at the top of the list when clients look at all of the applicants. So you really want to make sure that you have a lot of relevant skills to the jobs that you're going to want to have, because that's going to determine which jobs you're going to be shown by Upwork, and also it's going to help you get more of these jobs because you're going to appear higher when you apply. Right now, you don't need to worry about making it perfect. Just enter a few, and later on, we're going to make a better list. So next, you want to write a bio. I'd say don't worry about it too much. Write a quick bio, but try to make it truthful and interesting, because sometimes Upwork does not accept freelancers automatically, and you want to make sure that your bio is at least fair and decent enough so that if it's set for manual review right now, that you still look professional enough and serious enough that they're going to allow you to get your profile approved. So for me, I'm just going to write a quick bio here. I've worked as a web designer since 2018. I specialize in design and sales pages, and you know, whatever your skill set is, you're going to be able to write something more relevant to what you offer. And I recommend writing something a bit longer, but yeah, Upwork actually just tells me that it needs to be at least 100 characters, which is kind of small, but you know, if you really take your time and try to do your best, I'm not saying write an essay, but like at least like a couple of paragraphs to show what you're about and why you're qualified to be an Upwork freelancer. It's very easy to be accepted onto the platform. And most of the time, as far as I know, you just get accepted automatically. I think there's just like some different times in the past where there were too many applicants. I think during COVID that happened, and there were so many applicants that it was hard to get a profile made, and you had to be manually approved. But right now, as far as I know, it's automatically approved. Once you're done, you can just click the button at the bottom right that says next, choose your categories. Very simple. Upwork's gonna recommend some categories that you can choose for your profile. Choose something that's relevant for you. I think the ones that suggested here, web and mobile design, is very relevant to everything that I've written on my profile so far. So I'm just going to click that, and then just click the button at the bottom right again. And then it's gonna ask you to set an hourly rate. Don't worry about it too much. You're gonna be adjusting it later, and there's strategies you can use to determine what's the best hourly rate for you to start out. But for me, I'm gonna start with 85. That's what I normally use. So for me, I'm gonna start with this right now. Then it's gonna ask you to include some personal information like your date of birth, and then include a photo. So once you're done, is going to bring you to this page where you can preview your profile, and if you're happy with everything you've written, you can just click the green button, submit your profile here, and that's how you create your first Upwork profile. Once you click that green button, it'll take you to this page where it's going to say you good job and your profile's ready. All right, so now that we've made your Upwork account, the next step is to make sure that we go back and redo all the most important parts of your profile and make sure that we do them well. The most important parts of your Upwork profile are undeniably your profile picture, your description, especially the first 2 lines, your job title, and your portfolio. Because before clients even click on your profile, whether it's when they're searching for Freelancer, when they're using Upwork's search function, or when they look at all the people who applied to their job posting, the first thing they're gonna see are your profile picture, your job title, and the 2 first lines of your description. And they're only gonna see the rest if they decide to click on your profile after they see your profile overview. In a sense, all the rest of your profile doesn't really matter unless you do a good job with these 3 first elements. To cater to the way that clients use Upwork, we need to make sure that we do a really good job with these most important sections, the section that most clients look at and the sections that influence their decisions the most. So now I'm going to show you how to find the profiles of successful freelancers that we want to model. In your Upwork dashboard, you'll notice at the top there's a search bar. Click that, click on talent so that we search for freelancers. What you want to do is is type your job title in the search bar so that you find people with your similar skill sets. And then you want to use the filters at the left of the screen to filter out and make sure that we only keep the freelancers who are successful. So we're going to keep only people who charge at least $60 an hour and have earned at least $10,000 on the platform, who have built over 1,000 hours on the platform, so that we know that they charge a lot of money, they've been there for a long time, and they have earned a lot of money. So it's not just people who have started charging a lot of money recently, nor people who charge a lot of money but can't find jobs. So we only find people who know how to find jobs and have made a lot of money on the platform. These are the people you want to model. Look at these. I mean, $90 an hour, $250 an hour, $800,000 earned. These are amazing profiles that obviously they're doing something very well. So now that we found good profiles that we can learn from, that we can analyze, what we want to do is start by making a good profile description. So the way we're going to do that is I want you to open every profile that appears in the first page of the results after you've done this filtered search, and then you look at all their descriptions. You look at what they write step by step, like what do they write first and then what they write after that, like what do they write in sequence, and you want to find one of these descriptions that you feel like it has a sequence that you could sort of follow to make a good profile description for yourself. You'll notice a lot of them will talk about a lot of different things. They might talk about their education. Maybe you don't have education. Maybe that's not the best profile description to model for yourself, but find one that has a structure that you can do something similar for yourself and it would work. You try to write this description for yourself while trying to keep a similar tone, style, and feel without copying what they write, but by doing something similar but for yourself. And you might notice that there's some sections in these descriptions that you can't really do for yourself because maybe you don't have certifications or different things. And in these instances, there's two things you can do. First of all, there's different elements that sort of fit in almost any profile description. These sections could be things like talking about your past work, mention your experience, your certifications, or training that you've had relating to your skill set. You can also include testimonials from previous clients. That's really good as well. If you don't have any of these things, you can also try to just include nothing really and just adjust the structure to make a coherent description that works for yourself. But if you can avoid that, that's best. But sometimes, you know, you don't have what you need to write in these structures, so you kind of have to leave them blank. But still, using this system and trying to find good people to model usually is so much easier and yields to so much better results than just trying to come up with something by yourself with trial and error. So now let's talk about how to make a good profile picture. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that you make yourself look good, like look professional, like do your hair, shave yourself if you have beard, and make sure that you look presentable. Try to find a plain background. Do this usually on a white wall is very good, but walls of other light color can be good as well. Make sure that you take at least 30 pictures. This way, the chances that you have at least one that is good is like 99%. 30 for me is the minimum to have a good guarantee that you're gonna have at least one that's decent. All right, so now let me show you how to make a good job title for yourself that looks professional and works well. There's a simple format that you can use in almost any industry that works very well. I really like it. You start by writing your job title. For me, would be web designer, and then you put a vertical bar, and then you type a big benefit, like what are they looking for? And then you include another vertical line, and then you can type something which is a technology that you use. If you don't use really technology, you can skip that part. But for me, for a lot of jobs like graphic designer, web designer, programmers, data scientists, usually you're using programs, and what happens is that there's different programs that can be used for any type of jobs, and clients typically work with one program for the business. And so even if you're maybe a good programmer, if you're not programming in the programming languages that they use, it really doesn't matter how good you are for them. So they really want to make sure that you're using the good technologies. So usually when they're using the search bars, they're looking for a specific type of technology and they're going to write it. So you want to include the piece of technology that you're using. So for me, for example, as a web designer, it could be something like web designer, over 30% conversion, WordPress, or ClickFunnels. So now we're going to choose your hourly rate for your profile to start out. The best way to do it is, as far as I know, just go to Google, type in your profession. Are you a web designer? Just type in web designer. Type in web designer salaries United States. Try to find an hourly rate that is the average for people with your level of experience. So if you're entry level, look at the average hourly rate for web designers or whatever your profession is in the United States for your level of experience when they work in normal full-time jobs as employees. So what you do after that is you take that number that you find and then you multiply it by 1.85. So you almost double it, but not quite. And what this is going to give you is a rough estimate of how much you should charge to be in the market prices as your profession on Upwork. Obviously, this number might feel big if you've never been an independent worker. If you've always worked as an employee, what happens is employees typically, on average, always get paid less than independent workers, because as employees you get all these benefits, like you can get paid for your vacations, you get sick days, you get sometimes health insurance, a lot of different things that as a freelancer you don't have, and also you get paid for every hour that you work, which independent workers don't really have. You know, as an independent worker, I have to spend time that is not getting paid looking for new jobs. And that's hours every week typically for workers that do not get paid. And so all of these reasons together explain why independent workers charge more money usually, and that makes sense because of their conditions. Don't compare yourself to a person who has a normal salary, because if you try to charge the same as they do, you're going to end up with less money because you don't have all these benefits paid for you. So now I'm going to show you how to build your first portfolio. The really most important thing is that you get to at least 3 portfolio items. The reason for that is that when you look at a freelancer's profile and you see the grid of all the freelancer's projects, you only see 3 items, right? So you can add 4 or 5, and that's all good. But the most important number is to get at least 3, because if you have only 1 or 2, it gives a really bad first impression, because client looks down and he only sees like half or a third of your portfolio filled and the other looks empty. It makes you look like beginner. That's not the good first impression that you want to give. At least their first impression is that you have a portfolio and that you're someone, you know, experienced and valuable. So the last part of your profile that I'm going to talk about today is your skills. As I said earlier in creating your profile, skills are very important because the skills you include determine which jobs you're going to get recommended in your feed, but also skills determine how high you appear when you send proposals. When clients receive applications for jobs that they post, the people who appear at the top are not the people who applied the most recently or at first, it's the people who are most relevant to that jobs, and skills are a key part to make sure that you appear high in these results. And what you want to do with your skills is, first of all, make sure that you include as many as possible, as many as Upwork allows. You want to max it out. Don't go including things that you can't really do. But more than that, one of the best ways to make sure that you include skills that are really valuable is that you want to look at Upwork's press releases. And you'll notice in 2019, they released a press release called the Upwork 100, something like Upwork reveals the top 100. And this press release reveals to us the top 100 keywords back in 2019. With this list, you're going to notice what skills, with the top 100 skills that were most in demand in 2019. And it's a good place to see if you have good skills among that list and include them in your skills in your profile, because then you're going to know you're going to include skills that are probably still in demand since they were in the top 100 like 4 years ago. All right, so now let me show you how to find good jobs to apply to. There's two things you can do. You can either use the search bar, but for most beginners, I wouldn't recommend it unless you use the advanced search function and you really know what you're doing to make sure you filter out all the bad jobs. Most of the jobs you're going to find are just jobs that you don't have a good chance of getting, and if you apply to them, you're just going to lose your connects, your currency that you use to apply to jobs for free, and that's really not the best strategy as a beginner. Instead, what I recommend is the strategy I'm about to share with you on my computer right here. So on your Upwork dashboard, once you're connected, you'll see at the top left of the screen there's this button called Find Work. Click that, you're going to be taken to this page. You'll notice there's this section at the bottom left, jobs you might like. You're going to see it's right now put on best matches. You want to click on most recent, the second tab inside that section. This section is the easiest place you can find jobs. Basically, there are jobs that just were posted right now, and you notice, look, this job, less than 5 proposals, obviously, because it just came out. The client just posted it like 40 minutes ago, so not a lot of freelancers have had the chance to apply. And what you want to know is that most of these clients often are still on the platform if you apply quick. And often they want to get their problem fixed as fast as possible and hire someone as fast as possible to get it done. So if you just apply to these jobs, instead of competing with 30 other proposals, 20 other people, 15 people, look at that, like less than 5 proposals. Sometimes you're competing with 0 people, 2 people, 3 people. Even if your profile is not the most amazing, even if you don't have a lot of 5-star reviews, you still have a better chance to get these jobs than almost any other job if you apply fast. So what you want to do is you can click on one of these jobs. For example, let's click on this one, request to meet in Dubai. If I click on this, it's going to take me to, it's going to open this sidebar right here, and you're going to see more information about the job. But most importantly, there's the apply now button at the top right, and that's what you want to click to get to the page where you can submit your proposal, and you're going to see, we're going to go through all of these steps with you, tell you what you need to write, but basically that's where you can write your cover letter and tell your client how much you want to charge for that project and that sort of thing. One of the biggest mistakes that many new freelancers do when they start Upwork is that they just sign into their profile once or twice per week and send like 20, 30 proposals all at once and try to apply to a lot of jobs, but that's kind of a waste of your time and connect, to be honest, because most of these jobs you don't really have a good chance of getting. You apply to a lot of jobs that came out a long time ago, so there's already a lot of proposals and you're competing with a lot of people, and that makes it very hard for you to get jobs, and it costs a lot in connects because applying to jobs on Upwork is not free. You know, you get free credits every month, but applying to job costs a little bit of money every time. It's just a waste of your time and money. Instead, you should try to sign in to your profile often and try to look at, were there new jobs that came out recently that you can apply to that still have not had a lot of proposals. This way you can use your credits well on jobs that you have a good percentage chance of getting. Sign in often. Like, apply to jobs that just came out, and that's why you want to sign up often, because when you sign in often, you have more chances of being there at the right time. Trying to get your first jobs on Upwork can be hard, but you know, use that to your advantage so that you can stand out and get these jobs without having to compete with 30 people who have 5-star reviews and all that thing when you're starting out. This way you just have like 3-5 people, and your chances of getting your first jobs are actually really good. And if you want to know how powerful applying fast is, that's one of the things that the biggest agencies do on Upwork. They hire people to just look at the Upwork feed, look at the jobs as they come out, and apply as fast as possible. One of the biggest biggest agencies in Europe, Codemotion, what they do is they've realized that if they apply to jobs within 15 minutes as they come out, they have a 70% increase in how often they get those jobs. You know, obviously, like as normal freelancers, we can't always apply within 15 minutes. Like you don't have the resources of an agency, but you can still try to apply at least within like a couple of hours and apply fast by signing in often. You know, in life, you don't just do what is the best, you do what is the best that you can do with your current resources. Applying fast is incredibly powerful, and there's real data supporting that. So when you send your proposals, the first thing you need to do is determine how much money do you ask the client to pay for your services. If you decide to go with just hourly payments, if you prefer that, you can just go ahead and keep the hourly rate on your profile and just use that. That's completely legit. If you want to go with fixed price or milestone payments, really isn't that hard. If you're experienced in your field, you kind of can estimate how much time it can take you to build that project. You can just estimate how much time it takes and multiply that by your hourly rate. And then I would recommend adding about 1/3 to that price to make sure that you cover your ass in case there are revisions and the client asks you to do more work than you expected. But you know, just guesstimate how much time it should take and then increase that amount that you find by about 33%, and that should be good. After you decide how much you want to charge for the project, you need to build your cover letter. And cover letters are really important. That's the main thing the clients look at when they determine whether or not they will even click on your profile and consider you as a freelancer. So you need to make sure that you write your cover letter in a way that you stand out. Because the more you stand out and the more you write your cover letter in a way that makes the clients want to hire you, the less proposals you need to send to get jobs and the less credits or money you have to spend to try to get your jobs. A lot of freelancers try to save time in their proposals and write templates that they can just reuse with every job, but unfortunately that doesn't work. Clients are very good at noticing that your proposal is just generic and something that you could just copy and paste. Actually, it's one of the things that annoy clients the most when it comes to proposal cover letters. You don't want to do that. But there's a simple solution to be able to write good proposals that stand out fast without having to waste a lot of time on that. I made a step-by-step guide on how to build your proposal cover letters step by step. You're going to see my battle-tested process on how to build proposals that work for any job. And if you want to see it, normally I sell this step-by-step guide for about $30 on my website, but I decided recently to give it away for free for a limited time. And if you want to download it for free while it's still free, just click the link down in the description. Go check it out. Go try it out. I put my heart and soul to make sure this step-by-step guide is as amazing as possible. And so go check it out. I'm sure you're going to like it. So with this, you have all the elements you need to get your first jobs on Upwork. As long as you follow the process, use my guide on how to build proposals and do everything I told you in this video, it's just a question of time before you get your first jobs. It's possible that it might take a week or two before you get your first job, but don't get discouraged. Like, you don't need to be lucky to get jobs on Upwork. Actually, luck averages over time. All you got to do is be persistent. Think about it. If you play heads or tails once, you get a binary result. Like, you either can have tails or heads and fail or succeed. But if you play 50 times, you're going to get more average results. What's the chance that you get only heads or only tails? What's the chance that you fail every time if you apply once to a job? Over time, as you apply to more jobs and as you add more and more numbers, luck averages out. And really, you don't need to be lucky on Upwork. And getting lucky is not really what most successful Upwork freelancers use to be successful. Trust in yourself, trust in your process, and understand that if you put in enough numbers, it's just a question of time before you get your first 5-star reviews, when finally things are going to get easier for you. And with that, thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this guide helpful. If you did, subscribe for more awesome content on Upwork, and I'll see you in my next videos. Take care.